Are you ready to listen to my dad Joe and Uncle Justin talk about sports? Now on with the show.
The Joe Mays and J-Raff Show is brought to you by Mays Sandwich Shop, which have been serving the greater West Lawn area delicious food for over 70 years.
So get ready! I mean, get ready! Are you ready for some football?
You are listening to the Joe Mays and J-Raff Show. A weekly podcast about sports since 2011. With a focus on football. Now, here are your hosts, Joe Mays and Justin Raffoff.
Well, good afternoon, everyone, and welcome back to the Joe Mays and J-Raff Show. J-Raff not present. I don't know why we keep him employed here at JMNJR Radio. Sorry, this is the sponsor talking. That would be Bill Mays, or as you know him better as Pop-Up, Natalie. My guest here again this episode is my oldest daughter, Natalie, hanging out with us. Natalie, how you doing?
Good.
I believe this time around, Natalie, you are even more prepared to talk NFL football as we dive into our favorite division, the AFC East.
I have learned my lesson.
You learned your lesson.
Yes.
All right. So we're gonna start there with the AFC East. We're also doing on this episode, Natalie, we are talking about the entirety of the NFL playoffs. And we are, let's get you centered. There we go. We are also going over the Super Bowl LXI, which I believe is in San Francisco this coming February on Valentine's Day. So what a great night to celebrate love while we watch our first love in sports, the NFL, right? Is that your first love in sports? NFL football, or are you baseball, or you Phillies girly? Where do you put the NFL and Super Bowl?
Well, I feel like more recently it has been baseball, mostly because the Dolphins have been sucking, so I care less and
Is that
less
foreshadowing?
as they suck more and more.
Is that foreshadowing
That is
for this
absolutely
episode?
foreshadowing for this episode. I care less and less as they suck more and more.
Awesome. Well, to remind everyone where we're at so far, and I hope this is correct, as Natalie's getting a crash course and a reminder of things that Mommy and I tell you all the time. Artificial intelligence is wonderful, but makes mistakes a lot. So double check your work. I did not have time this week to go over all of our picks. So I employed my favorite AI that I use from time to time, Gemini, to tell me who we picked, because I haven't written them down and I didn't have time to revisit all of our selections. So quickly, as you decided to say, hey, can we do the show an hour earlier? I was scrambling to get where we're at. But obviously, since we're going to be talking playoffs and we're going to talk Super Bowl, we needed to know where all of our picks were. So quickly, I told AI to come up with this graphic of Justin and me from a few episodes ago. It's the only NFL preview that Justin got to contribute to, was when we did 4 of the 8 NFL divisions on episode 441. And that was when we did the NFC and AFC West and the NFC and AFC South. These look accurate to me on first glance. I'm sorry if they're incorrect, but we'll need them, especially mine, as we go through and do the NFL playoffs, because obviously we need to remember who we pick to win each division and who we think are going to be the wild card. So this is there to help us out. So there you go, a quick look at AI-generated recap of episode 441 and the picks made by Justin and myself. But then, of course, Natalie, 2 weeks ago, we had a little interlude last week where Justin and I were here on the Bulldog Hour. We talked to former Wilson High School football player and former Penn State Nittany Lion football player, Pat Zerby, who was a member of the 2009 through 2013 Penn State football teams, and he was the starting fullback his senior year in 2013 and was one of the key cogs in that brilliant win over number 18 ranked Michigan in triple overtime. Justin was at that game. I was watching that game. So Pat joined us to talk Wilson and Penn State football. We had a great time. But that was a week after Natalie and I were on the show, episode 442 of the Joe Mays and J-Raff show 2 weeks ago, right after we got back from the beach. Natalie.
Oh, wow. I look about 30 years older.
Well, so see, these is the limitations of AI. So the first go through when I generated this of you, you looked much younger. But they had the star decals all over your face. And I said, that's a temporary thing. Let's not include that. So when it went back and removed the stars from your face, it also made you look like you were 30. So we just didn't have time to fix that, Natalie. I did have it fix the ranks, though, because the rankings were completely messed up. So we quick revisited that and have the ranks from you and me for the NFC and AFC North, as well as the NFC East. And you can see AFC East there is TBD, because we're going to talk about that right now. So we'll revisit this when we get back to the playoffs discussion and the Super Bowl. But here we are. So I think, Natalie, I'm going to let you go first. And remember, we start at the bottom. So we are going with fourth place in the AFC East. So I don't know that I want to ask you this, but obviously we have to ask you this. Who do you have in fourth place in the AFC East?
As you probably guessed from my subtle foreshadowing earlier, I have the Dolphins in last place.
Oh, this one hurts, Natalie. This one hurts.
It hurts me too. I don't want to have to say it, but we have to look at the factual evidence here. And
that they're just not good.
they're just not good lately.
Yeah, so they had a little bit of a fire sale and tossed aside a lot of the players. You know, they got rid of Jalen Waddle. They traded Jalen Waddle to the Broncos, so he is no longer with the team. They also got rid of Minkah Fitzpatrick. He is gone. They obviously got rid of their coach. They moved on from Tua Tagovailoa. They had a couple first-round picks, so brought in some young talent in Caden Proctor, who's going to start at offensive guard this season. Chris Johnson, the cornerback from San Diego State. One of my favorite picks, Jacob Rodriguez, who I hope is Zach Thomas 2.0, the linebacker from Texas Tech. They added some other promising wide receivers in Caleb Douglas from Texas Tech and Chris Bell from from Louisville. Kyle Lewis, the safety kind of hybrid linebacker from Pitt. So they had brought in a lot of draft picks, a lot of young guys, signed a bunch of undrafted guys. Obviously, training camp hasn't quite started yet, so we don't know where things are going to go, but a lot of changes in Miami. So is there anything in particular that you think is the big reason why you have them finishing last in the AFC East?
They just, they have a lot of changes, and even with these changes, they aren't looking as strong as they were, say, how long ago was it? When they actually made it to the playoffs?
That was back in 2023, I believe, was the last time they had a good season. You know, because last year was not a great season overall. They finished 7-10, third in the division. 2024, they were 8-9, so they got a game worse. 2023, like I mentioned, it was pretty good. They were 11-6 and finished second in the AFC East, but they choked down the stretch. They were in control and should have won the division in 2023, and it's all been downhill since. They lost 3 of their final 5 games, including a brutal one on Monday Night Football on December 11th to the Tennessee Titans. They lost that 28-27, and then they lost their final 2 games, kind of both in embarrassing fashion. They got blown out by the Baltimore Ravens on New Year's Eve, and then they choked against the Buffalo Bills in a game that was for the AFC East division, and just couldn't get anything done at home in January of 2024. And then, of course, they then lost their playoff game to the Kansas City Chiefs in freezing cold weather, 26-7 on January 13th in Missouri. So that was the last time the Dolphins had a very good season, and even then, it felt like we knew how things were going to happen. So it was the fourth year of Mike McDaniel last year. He didn't get a chance to, fifth season. Now I'm confused. Was
No,
it
it's
fourth or
fourth.
fifth? Okay, yeah, fourth
It's the
season. 4 seasons with Mike McDaniel. Dolphins now are under new management. They have new general manager John Eric Sullivan from Green Bay, who then he promptly hired the Packers defensive coordinator Jeff Hafley, who was there for a couple years after being head coach in the college ranks at Boston College. Tyreek Hill also gone for the Dolphins. There's been a lot of changes. Probably
Yeah,
none
also,
bigger.
They lost a lot of the people that I loved on the team. And so, like, it's like, oh, this just isn't the team that I started loving the Dolphins with.
Right, but now this is the realization that this happens all the time in sports, and they will
Yeah.
constantly rip your heart out and get rid of the players that you like. So Tua's gone.
And then they'll trade them to a team that you absolutely hate.
So Tua's gone. Tyreek is gone. Waddle is gone. Achan is back, and probably the biggest change roster-wise was the addition of Malik Willis. He's the new quarterback of the Dolphins. He'll wear jersey number 2. He was drafted by the Titans a few years ago, then took his talents up to Green Bay, where he sort of flourished as a backup quarterback to Jordan Love there. He parlayed that into a big contract from the Dolphins. So this is now his 5th season in the league, 2 with Tennessee, 2 with Green Bay. But now he's the starting quarterback. So we'll see what happens. Will Malik Willis do a bunch? Will he even win the starting job? I mean, you gave him the money. You got to think that they're going to play him. But Quinn Ewers is still on the roster, and he had kind of a cup of tea with the team last year after they moved on from Tua. But I got to think it's going to be Malik Willis. But I agree with you, Natalie. I think, unfortunately, our Dolphins are going to be the last place finisher in the AFC East this year. So they were, what did I say, 7-10 a year ago. What do you think is in store for them in 2026?
I feel like they're going to be like that kind of same. I feel like 7-10.
You think they're going to get to 7 wins?
I think they'll hover around where they were last year.
Okay, I mean, that would honestly be a success to me.
You think they'll be worse?
I definitely think they're going to be worse. I don't think they're going to be like 2 to 4 win team. I think they'll be better than that, but I could see them winning only 5, maybe 6 games. I
could be convinced to go to 6-11, but I don't think that they'll only get 5.
I think 5-12, 6-11 is probably where I would put them, and in last place in the AFC East. I'll go for my 3rd place team next, Natalie. Quickly, let's talk about the Dolphins' schedule. They play 3 of their first 4 on the road, and their only home game is on September 27th against the Kansas City Chiefs. So they only play, and believe it or not, they only play 2 home games before Halloween. They've got 4 road games and a bye in the first 7 weeks. The home games are against the Chiefs and Bengals in week 3 and week 5. And then they play the Patriots on November 1st in week 8 at home as well. So a lot of on the road games to start. And they actually finished the season in New England on January 9th or 10th. Buffalo doesn't come to down until late in the season. The Dolphins actually don't play the Bills until week 11. So it's an interesting start to the year for Miami for sure. I just don't think they're talented enough to really make many strides or look like a team that's going to challenge in the playoffs. So, okay, 3rd place in the AFC East for myself. I'm going with the New York Jets, just barely. I don't think the Jets are that good of a team. They have been one of the worst teams in the NFL for the last 20, 25 years by and large. I know they had a little bit of a resurgence in the late 2000s, early 2010s. They had a couple good years in there, but it's been a while since they have made the playoffs. I think in professional sports they may have the longest drought without making the playoffs. I think it's close to 15 years or so. They were 3-14 last year under Aaron Glenn. I don't think Aaron Glenn proved in 1 year that he's going to be a competent head coach. I think his peak might be as defensive coordinator, as he had done with the Detroit Lions. I don't think this team is necessarily very good. They did have 3 first-round picks added to the roster in David Bailey, Kenyon Sadiq, and Omar Cooper. 3 big names from college football last year: the Texas Tech linebacker, the Oregon tight end, and the Indiana wide receiver, respectively. But I don't know that this is a very good team. Frank Reich was brought in the offensive coordinator. I just don't know that they're very good. Geno Smith has had off the field issues all season. Unless those rookies really make a huge impact, this team is maybe sort of better than last year, but 3-14, it's hard to be worse than they were last year. But I don't know that this team can win more than 6 games, which is right around what I have Miami at, 5 or 6. I think the Jets could be right in that same area. I'll give the Jets a benefit of the doubt, because sometimes, at least over the last few years, I feel like I've given the Dolphins more of the benefit of the doubt, and I'm not sure I can do that this year, Natalie. So I'm going to put the Jets barely in 3rd place in front of Miami. I'll say the Jets do get to 6 wins, and if Miami and New York share 6 wins, the Jets will get my tiebreaker to technically finish in 3rd place. But I don't think either team, the Dolphins or the Jets, are very good.
That is pretty much exactly my thoughts. I also have Jets in 3rd place, barely. I really want to put Dolphins above Jets, but I feel like if the Jets aren't better, they're going to tie the Dolphins, and the Jets will have the tiebreaker.
All right, so you're right there with me. The Jets will start on the road as well. They're going to go to Nissan Stadium to take on the Titans and meet former Jets head coach Robert Saleh. They will then get to kick off games at MetLife on September 20th against the Packers before back-to-back road games to finish September and start October, sort of like the Dolphins. So interesting start for both the Jets and Dolphins. The Jets have a late bye, however, back all the way in week 13, and they'll close out the season hosting the Broncos, going to the Cardinals, hosting the Patriots, hosting the Vikings, and then traveling to the Buffalo Bills in New Highmark Stadium. So we're in agreement on the first 2, Dolphins in 4th, Jets in 3rd. Let's move on to 2nd, Natalie, and I'll let you go first here, and I'm interested to see who you have as the 2nd best team in the AFC East. Is it going to be the Buffalo Bills, or is it going to be the New England Patriots, who won the AFC East and the AFC just last season?
I have the Patriots in 2nd place.
All right, so you have New England dropping down into 2nd place in 2026. So the Patriots won 14-3 last year, a huge turnaround under first-year head coach Mike Vrabel, after being a rather pedestrian team for the last few years of Bill Belichick's tenure, and then Gerard Mayo's 1 year there, which they went 4-13. They went 14-3, just 10-game swing. And a trip to the Super Bowl. But you have the Patriots obviously taking a step back. I don't think, if they're in 2nd place, I don't believe you have them going 14-3.
No.
So where do you have New England in 2026?
I feel like they can hover around anywhere from 9-8 to 11-6 for me.
9-8 to 11-6. Okay,
I feel
that's
like
a
they can
pretty
go
big step back.
I feel like they can go pretty much anywhere there. I'm leaning more towards 11-6, but I don't feel like they'll be any better than that. But I feel like they could go anywhere in that range.
All right, so I'm in agreement with you. I'm going to put the Patriots in 2nd. I think 14-3 last year. Justin and I talked about this a lot. The Patriots had a easy schedule. Now, they did, as Uncle Rich is always ready to point out, beat teams in the AFC playoffs to get to the Super Bowl, including the Broncos, who was using a backup quarterback. They had an easy schedule through the regular season. They dominated most of the opponents they should have beat. Got off to a little bit of a slow start, but they steamrolled through the AFC, won the division, won the conference, and then just lost in the Super Bowl. Because honestly, I don't think they were not a 14-3 team. They're now facing a first place schedule after winning the division last year. I think Drake May is a good quarterback. I don't think he's as amazing as maybe he played last year or people make him out to be. They also have all the off-field, off-season drama surrounding their head coach and the infidelity and issues that have permeated through his life. So that will probably come up. And, anytime there's drama and issues off the field, it trickles into the locker room, especially because of the way that Vrabel operates, about team first mentality and leaving it all at the door and being focused. This is not something that they're able to probably put away completely. It's going to hang over this entire season. And they've got huge expectations now that Drake May made that big jump, that they are division champs and defending conference champs. I just don't think they're as good as their record and result last year. I think they got a bit lucky and took advantage of a completely down NFL altogether. I don't think there were any great teams last year. I honestly, I hope the season goes better than last year, because last year just felt really, really weird to me. And Justin and I have talked about this in the past.
You guys have said, like, it just felt off last year. Like, nothing went as planned. As we thought it was going to go. Like, I looked back at my picks from last year when we were doing this kind of exact same thing. I was looking back, I was like, whoa, a lot of this did not go the way that any of us were expecting.
Right. It's unfortunate that's the way it went. I mean, it's memorable for, if you're a Seahawks fan, you're happy, right? You're
Yes.
Super Bowl champs again.
And I don't hate the Seahawks, but you have something bitter against
Well,
them.
I did. It's gone away. It's not as bad. But they're still not one of my favorite teams. Do you have anything you want to add about the Patriots before we move on to our predicted AFC East champions in 2026?
No, I feel like we said it all.
All right. Well, then let's move on to the Buffalo Bills. Let's look at the Buffalo Bills and what we expect from them this year. Now, they also are welcoming a new coach. So 2 of the 4 teams in the AFCs have new coaches. All 4 of them have new coaches as of the last 2 years. The Jets and Patriots changed before last season. Now the Dolphins and Bills have changed before this season. We saw Joe Brady come in as head coach after Sean McDermott was let go in mid-January after they lost to who did they lose to last year in the playoffs? Now I'm completely drawing a blank. Gonna have to pull it up because I don't remember. All right, they beat the Jaguars and lost to the Broncos in overtime. Yes, so that was that game with the catch no catch that played into it. But they squeaked past the Jaguars 27-24, lost to the Broncos in overtime 33-30, and then Sean McDermott was relieved of his duties and Joe Brady was promoted. So the Bills went 12-5 last year, only good enough for second in the AFC East behind the 14-3 New England Patriots. The Bills will be debuting the new Highmark Stadium this year, and they will get to do that in week 2 on September 17th against the Detroit Lions, and that's actually on Thursday Night Football. So short week for the Bills to begin the season. They will go down to Houston, Texas to take on the Houston Texans at Reliance Stadium on September 13th. And the Bills will get 3 straight home games at New Highmark Stadium in weeks 2, 3, and 4 against the Lions, Chargers, and Patriots. So outside of the head coaching change is Joe Brady. Not a substantial amount of differences for the Bills with Josh Allen back at quarterback. Obviously, he's one of the best in the league. Some would argue is the best in the league. James Cook also had a fantastic season for them last year. He is back this year. Wide receiver is probably the one that most people will point out to as being the biggest difference. DJ Moore is in now as most likely the number one receiver. And will we see a full season from Keon Coleman? He's been a bit of a disappointment. They also have Mecole Hardman, Khalil Shakir, Josh Palmer, maybe Trent Sherfield, who's kind of bounced around a bunch and probably has played for almost every AFC East team at this point. But of course, their tight ends are back as well. Dalton Kincaid and Dawson Knox still have a pretty good offensive line as well. Defensively, they had some breakdowns at times last year. They hoped that they made some additions in the draft this year with TJ Parker and Davison Igbinison from Ohio State. Those are 2 second-round picks that they added to their defense, but also said goodbye to some defenders as well, and Matthew Judon and Shaq Lawson, Taylor Rapp, Joey Bosa, AJ Epinesa, Daquan Jones, Matt Milano, Larry Ogunjobi, Jordan Phillips, Jordan Poyer, Darnell Savage. There's a lot of changes defensively for the Bills, but feels like that's what they felt they needed to do. They felt like they had the offensive pieces, maybe just an addition of DJ Moore to the wide receiver spot before they could reclaim the AFC East and say, hey, we're probably one of the best teams in the AFC as well. And that's where Natalie and I both have them. We have them winning the AFC East again. I think I'm going to put them. So what, they 12-5 last year, new head coach. I never said what I thought New England's record was going to be, did I?
No way.
Because you said, what did you say?
I said
You said like
11-6.
9 or 10?
I
Or
said
10 or 11?
I said I said anywhere from 9 to 11 wins, but I was leaning more towards the higher numbers.
All right, so I will put New England 14-3 last year. I'll put New England at, I guess I'll say 11-6 because I am a believer in Vrabel and May. I'll put them at 11-6, and I'll have the Bills kind of duplicate what they did a year ago, but have it be good enough for first place in the AFC East this year at 12-5. So that's where I will go. But the order we have all the same. Yeah, so I think that's where we're at for our new stuff. Well, Natalie, I'm vigorously trying to update the AI graphic for
This is
this
why
round.
I don't use AI.
Well, yeah, this is frustrating, but it's the only way I can do it, live as we're making the show is to say, hey, can you edit this? And it's doing a poor job at it, and that's why I don't use AI. It's just not doing great. It's not listening, and it's changing our photos. Like, it's just
Your face looks like you have a massive.
I almost
chin.
look like Tom Brady in this one. And then who is that? Like, who's that?
I look like a me.
You do kind of look like a me. So not a job well done. The one that I have up here, I think they did a good job, I think, initially. You look a little older than you need to be, but it actually has our picks there in order. So I think that's not too bad. Yeah, so all right. Let's revisit what Justin and I had here as well. Now, did you go back and do the divisions that you didn't talk about on the show yet? Did you have I don't need the full picks. I just need your division champs and then your wild cards that you didn't get to talk about, which would be the West and the South.
I did not do that. I do have seeds that I have 1 seed, 2 seed, 3 seed, 4 seed, 5 seed, 6 seed, 7 seed.
Okay, well, as long as you did that, we should be good to go. All right, Pop's saying he can't. Pop says he can't see us, but I'm looking at it right now.
Maybe it's because we have the graphic up.
No, I mean, he said he not picking up the show. Like, he's not seeing it at all. But I know it's live because I'm watching it. I can pull it up live.
Look.
So, all right. All right. Well, Yeah, see? All good over here.
Oh, it's just delayed a bit.
Yeah, well, that's the live is always delayed like that. So, all right. Well, enough of that. Let's move on now and get to our playoff discussion and see where we're gonna go. So I will let's start in the NFC and go who you have ranked 1 to 7 in the NFC. Those would be the seeds. The top 4 are your division champs, and then 5, 6, and 7 are your wild cards. So Natalie, who do you have as your overall number 1 seed in the NFC?
The way that I have it arranged is I didn't include that. I just have like these are the two things I think 2 teams I think would be the 1 seed. But the 2 1 seeds that I have are the Rams and the Bengals.
Oh, okay. So all right.
So I have it like that.
Okay, so Rams are your NFC number 1 seed.
Yeah. Those are my 2 1 seeds, Rams and Bengals.
Okay. So Rams are your 1 seed in the NFC. Bengals are your 1 seed in the AFC. Okay, well
I have high hopes for the Bengals.
Apparently you do. We'll get to that. Let's do your number 2 seed in the NFC.
Okay. So Lions. That's the NFC.
Lions are your number 2 in the NFC. So Rams 1 seed, Lions 2 seed. Who's your 3 seed?
For the NFC.
So it'd be either the Cowboys.
Cowboys.
Cowboys are your 3 seed. Okay, then your 4 seed is your champ from the NFC South. Who did you have winning the NFC South?
I don't know which one's which.
Saints, Bucks, Panthers, Falcons.
Bucks.
Okay, so the Bucks are your your number 4 seed.
Yeah.
They're your winners of the NFC South, and they are going to be your number 4 seed in the NFC playoffs. All right, then who's your best wild card team?
Like from the NFC.
Yes. So I know for sure you picked the Bears and the Eagles second place in the North and East. So it could be them, or it could be someone from the NFC West or the NFC South.
I have the Patriots as a 5
No, that's
seed.
AFC.
Okay, the Seahawks as a 5 seed.
Seahawks. Okay, so Seahawks coming in after the Rams in the NFC West, and they're your number 1 wild card as the 5 seed will be the Seattle Seahawks for Natalie. All right, then who's your next best NFC wild card team in the 6th seed?
The 49ers.
49ers. Okay, so that means unless you have the Eagles as a 7 seed, you are not picking the Eagles to make the playoffs this year. Where do you have who is your 7 seed?
I have the Eagles.
You have the Eagles. All right. Got that one in there. Okay, so that means no Bears, Vikings, or Packers in the playoffs. Only the Lions making it in the NFC North. 2 NFC East teams, 3 coming from the NFC West with the Rams, Seahawks, and 49ers. So that is Natalie's NFC playoff 1 to 7. Let's go with mine now. I am going to go with the Rams as number 1 as well. I think they'll probably be the best team in the NFL this season. So I will put the Rams as the 1 seed. I also believe I'm going to go with you and have the Lions as the 2, the Cowboys as the 3, and then we had different teams winning the NFC South. So I'm actually going with the Saints as my NFC 4 seed because I had them winning the NFC South. And I'm not going to have any other NFC South teams make the playoffs. So the Saints are the only representative as the division champion. I am going to put I think I will put the Eagles as my 5 seed and the 49ers as my 6 seed.
We're matched there.
Okay. And then who is my last seed?
I honestly, for my 7 seed, I was kind of indecisive with it, but I ultimately decided on the Eagles.
Okay. Well, I'm going to put the Bears as my 7 seed. So it goes Rams as my NFC number 1, Lions as my NFC number 2, Cowboys as my NFC number 3, Saints as my NFC number 4, Eagles as my NFC number 5, 49ers as my NFC number 6, and Chicago as my NFC number 7, which means I have the Seattle Seahawks missing the playoffs after winning the Super Bowl last year. That's a tough one for me. I think they'll be right there, and I do agree with you that the NFC West will be very strong, but I do barely have the Seahawks missing out on the NFC playoffs. All right, I will go with my AFC 1 to 7 now,
Okay.
Natalie, and we'll start. Man, who do I want winning or going into the playoffs with a bye out of the AFC? I think I will go with. I'm going to go with the Baltimore Ravens ending up in the number 1 seed, just barely over the Buffalo Bills in second in the AFC, followed by the Kansas City Chiefs as my 3 seed. And then I will have the Houston Texans in the 4th spot out of the AFC South as the 4th best division winner. My 3 AFC wildcard teams then will be the Cincinnati Bengals in the 5th spot, the Jacksonville Jaguars. No, oh man, this is tough. 6 and 7 are going to be tough because I want to go with 2 of the Broncos, Jaguars, or Patriots, but I can only pick 2 of those teams. So who do I think is going to have a step back? Because they all made the playoffs last year. That's rough. No, I'm going to shift. I'm going to put the Patriots as my 6th seed and then the Broncos as my 7th seed, with the Jaguars being the first team left out in the AFC playoffs. Apologies to the Jaguars, but I have Patriots 6, Broncos 7. All right, Natalie, how about you? Who do you have as your top 7 AFC teams?
So I have high hopes for Bengals, so I have them as my 1 seed.
Wow, Bengals at number 1.
I have my Bills, not my Bills, but I have the Bills at my 2.
Okay.
And then Chiefs at 3, Texans at 4, Patriots at 5, the Ravens at 6, and Steelers at 7.
Oh, you have the Steelers making the playoffs. Okay.
Just barely.
So 3 teams from the AFC North make it in your predictions. And all right. So, well, Natalie, when it's all said and done, who do you have making the Super Bowl?
I feel I'm gonna go with both my 1 seeds.
You're going to go with both your 1 seeds. All right, so
Yeah.
Rams, Bengals. So we have a Super Bowl rematch.
Yeah, when was that? 23?
Was that the 20? No, I think it was before that.
22?
Are you talking about February 2023 or the 2023 season?
February 2023. Was it
No, I think it was before that. It was the 2021 season, the 2022 Super Bowl. That was Super Bowl LVI, where the Rams beat the Bengals 23-20, and yeah, that was a good Super Bowl. It was entertaining. Stafford, Burrow. We could see that again here 5 years later. Interesting if that would happen. Wouldn't be surprised if it is the Rams. As much as I want to see the Bengals do well, I guess I would be surprised if they made it all the way to the Super Bowl. I predicted that a couple times over the last few years and was way wrong with it. But
But Burrow was injured a lot.
Burrow has been injured a lot, but does that mean he's going to be healthy this year? I don't know. Their defense also needs to get a lot better. Now, I'm not saying it's not going to happen because I did have the Bengals finish second in the AFC North and as my number 5 seed in the playoffs, but I just think we are on a collision course in the AFC with the Ravens and Bills. They're my top 2 teams. I need to have one of them that needs to break through and get over the hump because while I do think that the Chiefs are going to be back and better this year, I have them winning the AFC West and I have them as the 3 seed in the AFC playoffs. I just think it has to be one of the Ravens or Bills. Now, I don't want that to happen because I don't like either team. I would honestly, and I know people don't agree with me, I would take the Chiefs, Broncos, or Texans, 3 of the other 7 teams in the AFC playoffs for my predictions, but I'm afraid it's going to be the Ravens or the Bills. Just what direction do I want to go? Well, before I answer the AFC Super Bowl participant, let's go back to the NFC Super Bowl participant and just know that I am 100% with you, Natalie. I do think it's going to be the Rams. I actually think I would favor it being Rams-Lions in the NFC Championship game. The Cowboys would have to show me something to win a playoff game, which they haven't been able to do in a long time. I don't think it's going to be the Eagles this year. I don't think it's going to be the Bears this year. And I, as much as I think the Saints could have a decent season and win that division, I don't think they're ready to make the Super Bowl. So I will have to say that it's going to be the Rams over the Lions in the NFC. 1-2 in the NFC for me. How about in the AFC? I said it will be Bills at Ravens. And oh boy, two new coaches, two rookie head coaches for the NFC Championship, or excuse me, the AFC Championship game with the Ravens and the Bills. It's just, who do I think comes out on top? The Ravens choked to the Chiefs a few years ago to make it to the Super Bowl. We've seen the Bills do it as well. The Bills would be the road team here in this instance. I feel like even though the Ravens would be the number 1 seed and hosting this game, I feel like I believe more in Josh Allen and the Bills under Joe Brady than I do with Jesse Minter and Lamar Jackson, even at home. So I'm going to put the Buffalo Bills in the Super Bowl as much as I don't want to. I'm going to have
I don't
the
like
Bills
either
there.
team.
No, I don't want either team to win either. And Bills Rams, I would 100% would be choosing the Los Angeles Rams to win. And I think they're the best team in the league. So I am going to have the Los Angeles Rams beat the Buffalo Bills in the Super Bowl. So Natalie, your Super Bowl was Rams Bengals. Who do you have winning?
I had the Rams winning. So a complete revamp. Same team, same outcome
as 5 years ago. So Rams over Bengals for Natalie in Super Bowl LXI. I believe that is going to be in San Francisco. I believe that's where the game is being held. Yes, SoFi. Oh no, excuse me. I said San Francisco. It's actually in Inglewood, the home of the Los Angeles Rams. At SoFi Stadium.
Imagine they win a Super Bowl at their home stadium. That would be pretty cool.
That would be pretty cool, wouldn't it be? It actually already happened 5 years ago.
Oh,
that's exactly where the Rams beat the Bengals.
So my Super Bowl would be completely the same, just maybe different scores.
Yes, exactly the same. Yes, you got it. You got it right. So, yep. So once again, now we did the AFC East, but here's our AI generated image of our divisional picks for the NFC North, the AFC North, and the NFC East from 2 weeks ago when we did episode 442. And then you heard Natalie and I tonight give our AFC East projections, or predictions, not predictions, where we were in agreement.
This is difficult.
We were in agreement, though, Natalie. We both had Bills at 1, Patriots at 2, Jets at 3, and Dolphins at 4. Much to our chagrin. And now we just went on record to say it will be the Los Angeles Rams winning the Super Bowl. You have them defeating the Cincinnati Bengals, and I have them defeating the Buffalo Bills. So
to be fair, I do have my Bills at the 2 seed. So
no, you're right.
They're they're almost as even contenders as Bengals.
Look, this is a crapshoot, Natalie. Justin and I have been doing this since February 2011, so we started, I think, probably right after that Super Bowl. Who was in that Super Bowl? Man, I used to be really good at remembering that. But who was in the Super Bowl after the? Oh, is this right? So, this was when the Packers beat the Steelers on February 6, 2011 in Texas. Justin and I debuted the Joe Mays and J-Raff show about 2 weeks later. Actually, exactly 2 weeks later. I believe February 20th was our first show in 2011. So it was Packers over Steelers in Super Bowl XLV in Texas was the last Super Bowl that we didn't get to predict on the air. Every time since we have gone on the record of who we thought would make the Super Bowl, and then eventually, when the teams were decided, who would win the Super Bowl. So the first one we predicted was Giants Patriots.
You should go back and revisit.
We should go back and revisit who we predicted before the season started, who we thought would make the Super Bowl, and then when the Super Bowl was here, who we thought would win the Super Bowl, and how well Justin and I have done over the years. Seems like that could be a job for AI. Or otherwise, I got to listen to a lot of shows to figure it out myself. But all right, Natalie, do you have anything else you want to say about the 2026 NFL season?
No, I think that'll be less of a wonky season than last year, but I feel like I always am like, oh, this season is going to be like straightforward. There's going to be good teams and there's going to be bad things, and then I'm like, whoop, that goes out the window almost immediately. So,
what are you most looking forward to for this football season?
Just watching Red Zone on Sundays.
It's watching Red Zone. Yes, that is definitely a highlight for sure. It's the best. So for one last time, I'll put up the AI image of Justin and my picks from episode 441 a few weeks ago. That should serve as a basis for the future when we have our show in probably around Thanksgiving. Will be the next Joe Mays and J-Raff show, most likely with Uncle Justin back here on the airwaves, but maybe Natalie will make an appearance, especially if we're revisiting our season picks.
Yes.
Justin and I have a lot of overlap. We generally do. We'll have to get Justin's picks for the 4 divisions he hasn't done and for the Super Bowl as well, because we will want to have that out there. So I will have to ask Justin who his selections are for the ones that he hasn't predicted yet, which was the North and East divisions, as well as his 7 teams from each conference, and then the Super Bowl. We will need that on the record for sure. We'll want that because Uncle Rich will want to make sure that we're held accountable for our predictions. So will Pop, who apparently wasn't able to find us today, but I know that we're out there. So hopefully he was able to track it down and he can provide us with his picks as well. And we can all have fun revisiting how wrong we were.
Yeah.
In just a few months' time.
I want to go back and see who I predicted last year and then be like, wow, I was totally wrong.
Did not nail that one.
I don't even think I put the Seahawks even close to making it into the playoffs, but I'll have to go back to see.
Yeah, we would have to revisit those shows and see what you picked a year ago, because I don't remember either off the top of my head who we picked to win or make the playoffs or get to the Super Bowl even. So it would be fun to revisit that. It might be something that we have to do here in the, I want to say off season. It's not really the off season. It's just downtime for the show, because Justin and I are going to be full speed ahead with the Bulldog Hour from now on, because high school football, believe it or not, is going to get started here real soon. In the state of Pennsylvania, heat acclimatization practices start August 10th. Justin and I actually have a live Bulldog Hour show the next day on Tuesday, August 11th. So that will be at Tobias Frog outside of Reading, Pennsylvania. We will be hosting a live recording and broadcast of the Bulldog Hour, complete with the Wilson coaching staff and the Wilson Bulldogs football players. We will spend much of the next 3 weeks getting ready for that and the season at large. So no show from us next Sunday, July 26th. We will actually be out in Pittsburgh visiting Grandma and Grandpa. Then the following weekend, you will return to us, and Grandma and Grandpa will also be here. Then the following weekend, August 9th, will be just 2 days before the big live show at Tobias Frog. So we are going to still be prepping and not have any live show then. And then the following week actually will be finally a Sunday broadcast here on JMNJR Radio. And that will be of the Bulldog Hour as we get ready for the season to kick off. And then that'll be right after the scrimmage. And then the following weekend, we are having hopefully another live show at a local restaurant, the Valley Bar and Grill. And that will be with Paul Roberts to preview the entire Wilson Bulldogs football schedule here in 2026. And I think it's going to be a good one. All of that long-winded rant to say the Joe Mays and J-Raff show is going on its summer, early fall hiatus. but Justin and I, and maybe Natalie, will be back to join us again once the Wilson Bulldogs season is over sometime, hopefully as late in the year as possible. If we're not back on this show, it just means Wilson's having a really good year, and I think that could happen. So we may not be back until right before or right after Thanksgiving, which would be fine with me despite missing this show and talking pro and college football. Our first love, I think Justin and I would say, is high school football and the Wilson Bulldogs. So we will be excited if they continue to push this show later and later in the fall of 2026.
Because that means they're just winning.
Because that means they're winning. And this one here talking right now is going to be on the sidelines every game this year, most likely.
Every game.
Every at least home game, hopefully some road games as well. So we'll see how the schedule works out for you. But you are full go on sports medicine.
I don't know what we're gonna do. I just hope with Girl Scouts. I just hope that since we have them every other week, the home games are on the weeks where we don't have it, so I can skip as least amount of meetings as possible. But it's kind of inevitable when Girl Scouts is a fun thing and it's nice, but in the long run, when I'm doing athletic training, I'm preparing for my future. So I would prioritize that.
Well, the Girl Scout schedule just came out, so I can tell you exactly what you're going to miss to take care of the responsibilities with Wilson Sports Medicine and continue to learn and look to the future of a possible career, if that's what you choose to do. All right, Natalie, I think that's about it. So we're going to be a little bit short of an hour, but we covered everything we needed to cover. We did our AFC East predictions, our full playoff predictions, and our Super Bowl predictions for the upcoming, rapidly approaching 2026 NFL season. And like I said, this show will be on hiatus for the high school football season in Pennsylvania, and we'll be back as soon as possible. Look for us sometime in mid to late November 2026, or maybe even early December 2026. Depending how things go at John Gursky Stadium here in West Lawn, Pennsylvania. So thanks to Natalie for joining me on this episode, and for Justin Raffoff and the entire program. Thanks again to my dad, Bill Mays, and my sister, Corinne Dutt at Mays Sandwich Shop for always supporting and sponsoring the program. And we will be back again in a few months. Have a great rest of your summer. Enjoy the start of football season, and we'll be back to hold us all accountable for our NFL predictions in about 4 months. Thanks for listening. We'll see you again in a while.
Bye.
That's a wrap on this episode of the Joe Mays and J-Raff Show, brought to you by Mays Sandwich Shop. You can watch each weekly episode live on Facebook, Periscope, or YouTube. Be sure to like, follow, or subscribe to the show on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, SoundCloud, Apple Podcasts, and Google Play. You can also rate and review us on many of these platforms as well. We'd love to hear from you. Send your email to the Mays Sandwich Shop inbox at joemaysandjraff@gmail.com. The Joe Mays and J-Raff Show is a part of the JMNJR Radio Network, home to other productions such as the Bulldog Hour, Tangents with Friends, and Nat Chats with Dad. Until next time.